Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today I'll be reviewing the D-Arts Venusaur, or Fushigibana if you want to go by what's on the box. So yes, the D-Arts line for Pokemon is now over until they announce what else they're going to make. But this is everything that's been announced so far. I've reviewed all of them so far, which is Mewtwo, Blastoise, Charizard, and now Venusaur. He is so far the smallest one, which is inaccurate as hell. I will get into that whenever I go in for the size comparison. And articulation-wise, he's about as good as something of this shape could be. Comes with these cool little vine whip effects. And yeah, he's pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and zoom in for the articulation, sculpt, paint details, all those sorts of things. Alright, starting off with a quick size comparison. Here we have all of the D-Arts Pokemon figures so far. Blastoise, Venusaur, Mewtwo, Charizard with lots of his bits removed for space-saving purposes. Alright, as you can tell, Venusaur is the shortest. Do you know that he should not be? Because he shouldn't be, he should be the tallest. He is almost the exact same height as Mewtwo in terms of Pokedex data, so he should be about up here, to the top of the tree, around here somewhere, which means he should be freaking huge compared to everyone else. And instead, he's, he's down here, which is just not right. Venusaur is supposed to be big. He's a big plant dinosaur frog monster. And he's supposed to be taller. I don't know why they made him so small. They've been doing reasonably accurate scale so far. And, he's just not big enough, and it disappoints me greatly. Anyway, let's get everyone else out of here and just look at Venusaur. Alright, here we have Venusaur. As you can see, he has this big pink palm tree flower thing up here at the top. You may notice that a lot of the petals are askew. That's because every single one of these things is on a little ball peg, so they're not going to be entirely even without fiddling with them a lot. I'll go over that a bit more during the articulation bit. And it has the little yellow thing up here on top. And then it has 4 big leaves here on the sides. I do believe that this one is a bit shorter, and therefore that's the one that's supposed to go over his face. Be a bit like hair. Venusaur is looking a bit emo today. Turning to the side, you can see that most of his body is this blue sort of shade. I'm going to take his plant off in a minute so you can see him a bit better, but just giving you a quick overview of him real quick. He does have lots of little lumps and stuff on his body, as he should. And that is pretty much the extent of his overall appearance. Let's take this flower off real quick. Okay, now you can see him a bit better. You can see his head, and he's got his little ears up here. His eyes are red. You can see he can open his mouth. So let's look at the inside of that real quick. See, got the tongue in there. It's pink. Got little teeth in there too. He has little white claws on his feet, which you can see. And then he just has these little bumps all over his body. On top you can see there is the peg where the flower goes. And then these 2 pegs here are for his vine whip attachments, which I'll cover later. Try to zoom in a bit more on the head sculpt, but his head is quite large, so it's not quite the same as zooming in on most head sculpts. But anyway, you can see the eyes a bit better, and the mouth detail, and things like that. Overall, pretty standard sort of detail. Pokemon are not incredibly detailed creatures, so they did an excellent job putting the detail he requires in. Now let's zoom out and look at all of his articulation. Alright, I'm going to leave his plant off for right now, and then I'll look at it separately, since it kind of gets in the way of moving everything around. Articulation-wise, Venusaur has got pretty much every kind of point I could imagine for something of this shape. Back legs have ball joints, back there at the back. And he has slight knee hinging, ball peg sort of thing, and then his ankles pivot around forward and back really well. He has a slight movement at the butt area back here. Flexes in and out a little bit on a ball peg, but not a whole lot of motion. Front legs very similar to the back. Knees, or whatever you call them, and elbows. Something like that. Ball joints there at the top, and then he has the same sort of ankle movement. His head and chest can kind of flex up and down a little bit like that. And his head can pivot to the side a little bit, but not a lot. And then his jaw can open and close. I believe that is pretty much the extent of his normal body articulation. Like I said, it's pretty much about as good as I could imagine for something of this shape. So he moves pretty well. You can get him into about as many Venusaur-like poses as you could want. Now let's take a look at the flower real quick. If you have his flower on, each one of these little pink bits up here at the top have little ball pegs, so you can flip them up or push them all down. and they sort of tilt to the side a little bit just to get them in just the right position. And then the leaves down here at the bottom do basically the same thing. They have the little ball pegs, and then the entire flower thing is on a little ball pegged-like thing as well, so it'll tilt forward and rotate, and you can put it in pretty much whatever position you so desire. So, yeah, articulation-wise, I have nothing negative to say. Pretty cool. Now let's take a look at Venusaur's accessories. Alright, here are all of Venusaur's vine whip pieces. These two pieces here go on the very ends. They're like the little bulb-like ends of the vine whip. These two pieces here are the pieces that peg into Venusaur with these little ball pegs here at the end. And then they have little tiny rods at the other end. So these plug into his back, and they can sort of be positioned around a little bit, as well as they are on ball pegs. And then these four pieces over here can be attached to the end of these to make the vine whips longer and sort of curve around. Now, the little pegs that stick into each end of them are sort of short, and they can sort of fall off and not stay together particularly well, but if you get them together good, they'll stay together at like maximum length. They'll stay together. They'll be a bit heavy, so they won't stay up in the air or anything like that. But you can keep them all together once you get them together, as long as you don't mess with it too much. So I would say it's a really cool accessory. I'm going to just build a quick little vine whip and attach it to him and show you what it looks like exactly. Okay, that is a maximum length vine whip, unless you buy multiple Venusaurs. And as you can see, it is staying together. It is leaning against the ground on the other end, so that's why it is sort of kind of up in the air. It works really well. Ball pegs here at the end, so it can move forward and rotate around, although I'm moving it a bit gently to keep it from falling apart. So you can have a pretty cool sort of reaching out vine whip attack that goes pretty far. Of course, that's using all the pieces on only one side. So unless you buy multiple Venusaurs, you'll have to have only one really long one or something like that. I do have his flower off just because it's easier to put things together that way. That's pretty much it for the vine whips. They are really cool. If you can position them just right, you might even get some wrapping around sort of stuff going. So, yeah. The only other accessory he comes with is his base, so let's look at that really quick. His base is almost exactly what you should be expecting from the D-Arts Pokemon line. It's just a big, round, clear base that is shaped to look like a Pokeball, and has 4 holes for arms in there. Unfortunately, Venusaur does not come with any 3-jointed arm flight stands, like every other person or Pokemon or whatever does. And I don't know why. I know Venusaur can't fly, but neither can Blastoise, and he's got one, so I don't know why they didn't give us one, and it's just a bit annoying. Granted, I personally have lots of those arms, but to people that don't, it could be a bit annoying. They could be useful to help support the vine whips or something, so just not giving us one is a bit cheap. Anyway, that's pretty much all for his accessories. Let's move on to the packaging. Alright, this is your standard D-Arts Pokemon packaging. You got your big sort of circular window here. D-Arts, picture of Venusaur there, Pokemon. Fushigibana down there, as they don't use the Venusaur name. Tamashii Nation's Bandai logo. Then use the window here on the side, as well as the weird comma-shaped window. The hologram Venusaur down there at the bottom. There's lots of, like, shiny stuff on the box. And just overall, these boxes are really attractive to look at. So they are good for in-package display. You get lots of pictures of Venusaur on the back using his vine whips and things like that, and it does show that he comes with the base. And I guess it shows that it doesn't come with an arm, so that's fine, but it should, so that's kind of the point. As always, these are really good for in or out-of-package display, though I do prefer to use mine for out-of-package display. So, yeah, Venusaur. Alright, that wraps up for Venusaur, so until next time, goodbye! Venusaur! Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.